All right, today we are cracking open a document that literally millions of us have clicked agree on, but let's be honest, almost no one has actually read. We're talking about OpenAI's privacy policy.
You know exactly what I'm talking about. You see that wall of text, that tiny little checkbox, and you just click it to get to the good stuff, right? Well, let's pull back the curtain and find out what's really happening to your data every time you use a service like ChatGPT. So first up, what information is OpenAI actually gathering? I like to think of it as a kind of digital handshake. It happens in two parts. There's the stuff you actively tell them, and then there's the data that your devices just share automatically in the background. Okay, so on one side of this handshake, you've got the data you knowingly give them. This is the obvious stuff, right? Your name, your email, your payment info when you sign up. But it's also, and this is the big one, your user content. That means every prompt you type, every file you upload, every image you generate. Even if you shoot an email to customer support, that communication is collected too.
Then there's the other side, the data that gets collected automatically. Think of this like leaving digital footprints. We're talking about your IP address, your browser type, which features you're using, and what actions you take. It also includes info about your device and a general idea of your location. It all helps paint a very detailed picture of how you interact with their services.
So they're gathering all of this data. But the million-dollar question is, why? What are they actually doing with it all?
Well, the policy lists a lot of the usual suspects, things you'd find in almost any tech privacy policy. You know, they use it to make the service actually run, to keep it safe from bad actors, to communicate with you, and of course, to research and build new things. But there is one use in particular that is absolutely crucial to understand.
And here we go. This is the core of it. The policy says, clear as day, that your content, your prompts, your conversations, your ideas, is used to train the very AI models you're talking to. Put simply, your words are the textbook that helps make the AI smarter.
Now listen up, because this is a critical detail most people miss. You do have a choice in this. The policy makes it clear that you can opt out of having your content used for training their models. It is not mandatory. You can say no thanks.
Okay, so does all this data just stay locked away inside OpenAI's servers? Well, not exactly. Let's talk about who else might get a peek. They work with a whole web of third parties just to keep the lights on. Think cloud hosting providers who actually store the data, or payment companies that process your subscription. If you're using a business account, your company's administrator has access. And of course, if you use a feature like a shared link, you are actively choosing to share that conversation yourself.
Now, this is a really important distinction we need to talk about. On one hand, OpenAI might be legally forced to hand over your data, say by a court order. They'd have no choice. But on the other hand, the policy gives them the right to share it based on their own good faith belief that it's necessary. Do you see the difference? One is a legal mandate, the other is a judgment call made by the company, and that is a very significant gray area.
So with all that said, what power do you actually have here? What's your role in this relationship? Well, it turns out you have quite a bit of control, especially under certain laws. Let's dig into your rights. Depending on where you live, you have some seriously powerful rights. You have the right to access your data, to basically say, show me everything you have on me. You have the right to get it deleted, the right to correct it if it's wrong. You can even object to how they're processing it. And let's be clear, these aren't just polite suggestions. In places like Europe, this is the law. And the good news is, they don't just hide these rights in the fine print. The policy actually lays out how you can take action. So how do you actually do it? Well, some options are right there in your account settings, which is your first stop. For a more formal request, though, you can use their dedicated privacy portal or email a specific address. And for really serious concerns, they even give you a direct line to their data protection officer. The pathways are there.
So, we've looked at the rules as they're written on the page today, but this all points to a much bigger question, doesn't it? As this technology gets exponentially smarter and weaves itself deeper into our lives, shouldn't our privacy rights be evolving right alongside it? It really feels like this is a conversation that's just getting started.